Hey everybody, welcome to Hey Mando. I am Kyle Souza, coming from a hoarder's best nightmare, and with me, as always, is Ryan Ray. Ryan, how you doing?
Kyle, it's good to see your lovely face and your shirt.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you. Yes, my instant lunch shirt there. Some
yeah, we
top ramen. It's the
we
good stuff.
we missed last week. For the millions of listeners out there, we apologize, and so we're back this week. It's good to talk to you for the first time on the podcast all year, Kyle. And so
hmm
I think let me ask you this: maybe we should mix it up and start with the first episode of The Mandalorian because it's the first month Sunday of the year.
I mean, that completely destroys what I was going to talk about, but sure, let's do that.
We do it. We
I
do
was
it.
going to do season three next and then go back to season one. But no, I think you're right. I think we need to talk about the first chapter because we started in the middle of season two. So now we go back to the beginning and then we'll jump to the end later. And we'll do it just like Lucas intended every story to be told, the middle first,
Middle first. You know,
like how everybody eats a donut.
I thought about that the other day. Okay, we joke about that, but think about this: when you turn on Jurassic Park, do you catch the guy's whole life story leading up to the time that he built the park? The park's
No,
built, right?
no,
We could do prequels on Jurassic Park. Well, so Lucas is onto something there. He's
they would
just
be just as well received as the prequels of Star Wars. It's like, hey, do you guys want to see the guy who built Jurassic Park? Yeah. Okay, we're going to show him to you when he's 9, before he knows anything about science.
or a car or a cane or has grandkids or anything. So also, Kyle, viewer warning is advised. I've got notes. I've got notes. The first
No,
time.
I like it.
So,
I like it.
where where are we starting tonight, Master Kyle?
So we are starting with we've seen season two. Okay, so spoiler alerts on everything. We
And
will be talking about chapter one in light of everything we've already seen. We are not going to pretend that we haven't seen it. Now we
yeah,
may talk about the first time I saw it,
right.
but talking about the Mandalorian chapter one the first time I saw it, we'll be talking about when I saw it 5 times ago. You know,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
so I've seen Mandalorian chapter one more times than I've seen the Clone Wars. No, Attack of the Clones. Yeah.
We should end here. This is I didn't know. I thought we were friends.
No, well, I'm sorry. Um, I would like to be friends. I'd like to still be friends. I just I watched Phantom Menace like 6 times in theaters, and then when Mandalorian Chapter One came out the first time, I immediately watched it like 3 times in a row, and then I had to show people, and of course I watched it with them. And then before season two came out, I watched it, and then this time I watched it. So I've
Oh,
seen it like 7 or 8 times.
Attack
And I've seen
of the Clones been out for 20 years.
yeah, and I've watched it like 5 times.
What's wrong
I've
with
just
you?
seen I've
What's
seen this
wrong,
more than that.
what's wrong with you? Okay.
A lot of things. Have you seen my living conditions?
Well, I'm reaching out to hoarders, but that's a different story. Okay, so Mando episode one. I've got notes. You've got notes somewhere.
Yes. So before we get to that, I do want to say that this is a live stream. It will be replayed on the Outpost 23 YouTube channel, and also a audio version will be put out on the Hey Mando podcast, available at Spreaker and where other fine podcasts are given away for free.
Just so we know, Ben Samuels coming in strong tonight. Um, he loves the Clone Wars, and he even loves the TV show, as he mentioned, 7 seasons worth. So
Yeah.
thank you. Kyle's watched all 7 seasons. He's talking about Attack of the Clones, episode 2, not
Yes, I have watched the Clone Wars. I've actually there's episodes of the Clone Wars I've watched more times than Attack of the Clones,
yes. Well, okay.
but it is inarguably better.
That's okay. That's okay. Where do you want to start? Because this is going downhill already. I will say this: when I watched it, it was better knowing where we're at. Going back watching it this last time was the best viewing I've had, knowing where we're going. And this is the
Okay.
thing. This is why this is Ben Samuel's going to kill me. This is why spoilers are important to my life. Like I love spoilers because I like to know where we're going, so I can see if we actually got there or not. You know,
Oh, I like not knowing.
and this is I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to go here tonight because you've already just depressed me with your Attack of the Clones. I'm just saying, like now that I went back and watched season one, now that when I watched when I watched episode one, it was like okay, I know where this is going. I've got my notes here, and all of this stuff paid off. They paid off on all these things that I didn't know were important. They were important. They laid a good foundation, and I feel better about it. I remember watching the first time, going, "What are we doing? What, this guy keeps saying he's spoken. Okay, who is this guy? you know." So, anyways, yes, me and Kyle do live in a valley, actually under the bridge. We're borderline trolls, just so we're clear.
So
So,
so you make a good point though. Lucas was onto something the first time when you did episodes 4, 5, 6 before 1, 2, 3. Because if you watch episode 1, you're like, why is the announcer talking about Jabba? This kid slug doesn't matter. He's a teenage space slug. Why is he even on the screen? But later he's important. So if you know the later, then it'd be like if you watched the Star Wars movies in chronological order. There's things in episodes 1, 2, and 3 that you're just like, why do I care? I think
agreed.
the Mandalorian's kind of like that. I think every story is like that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So, where do you want to start at? General thoughts? You want to go through it piece by piece? What do you think?
Yeah, let's go through a piece. But this show from the first time I saw it. It was everything I wanted in a Star Wars opening scene. Like all I knew about the Mandalorian going in was it was about a Mandalorian who was not Boba Fett, and I thought it was going to be like a gig of the week type episode for him, or series for him, and we were just going to see him bounty hunting around the galaxy, and then it was going to be a Western style. That's basically all I knew about the plot. And so I felt like they nailed the opening.
So, one of the things I did not know going into it, and will remind me to address this with you later in the show about Ben Samuels and his reasoning for spoilers. But anyways, um, I didn't know going into it originally that it was a Western style theme, and I think you told me later on, or people kept telling me, whoever it was, and so I didn't know that. I just knew the show was coming out. So now that I know that, obviously that theme and the music and all that stuff going back, it's like, okay, this makes sense. This is a Western. It's got very much a Western feel to it. It also has that samurai feel to it as well. I know there's some kind of riff with that as well. Um, you know, the thing that I found interesting was they lay out a good world, like the world that they lay out in this part of Star Wars universe. They did a good job of setting this up. This is a cruel world. It's an unfair world. This is not so. We'll bring up the Clone Wars here. In the later seasons of the Clone Wars, when Ahsoka is down on the lower levels of Coruscant, you find
Mhm.
out from their perspective that Coruscant's not a good place. It's really a bad place from their
No, right.
right. And so this is kind of tapping into that vein of not everything in the galaxy is roses and peaches, and there's bad people with bad things.
So do you know about the Star Wars Underworld TV show that they had hoped to do on HBO or that kind of service back in the 90s?
No.
Okay. So George Lucas actually had an idea for a TV show, and other producers were involved. It wasn't just him. And they were going to do a bounty hunter focused TV show about Star Wars that they wanted to be aimed at adults. So they were going to do it on HBO, I believe. Um, and it was about the underworld on Coruscant, and it was a gritty thing. And so there was actually some footage at one of the Star Wars Day or one something um, one Star Wars events. They did have some like promo footage. It ended up never getting made, but I think they've kept that same idea in their head this whole time.
Question statement from the listener: are you describing Venezuela, Kyle?
Not yet, but it could get there.
Way to break the spoilers out, Joe. Come on. Oh gracious. I love Joe. Anyways, so that was the thing. So I'm trying to think. The opening scene, the opening act rather, is you have Mandalorian on a bounty with characters that we find out are later more important than we know at the time. Obviously, there's some stormtroopers. There's these guys get a bounty. You find out the Mandalorian's kind of a bad dude. Like bad in the sense of like he's a tough guy. He is a
Mhm.
legit tough guy. He will shoot you. He will kill you. And then the thing I thought that was well to do was when they're going to the ship and this guy's talking about these things. I can't remember what they're called.
Oh
And
yeah, the giant ice walruses.
yeah, as soon as they get out the ship, he gets eaten. It's like, okay, now I didn't the first viewing, I didn't realize they were setting up this world as this just a legit dangerous place. Time and chance get you all kind of place where you're just trying to make a buck, taking someone else from A to B, and it gets you. Another thing that they set up was well, can I tell you my theory on pilots? Not
On
not not
pilot
not airplane pilots, but like pilot TV shows.
pilot episodes.
Yeah.
No, tell me.
I can't
Oh
tell you.
wait, yes, I think you have that. It's supposed to tell us where we're going or what it's going to be like, that kind of thing.
Right. Right. Yeah. And so, yeah. So for the listener's benefit, I generally think that pilot episodes for shows like this should lay a foundation of where you're going. It doesn't mean they have to stay there. It doesn't mean that they have to go there for all however many seasons, but it should kind of set you up for the journey of what's important. Um, However, in this case, I didn't know this is why going back was so important, or so helpful. I didn't know until after we went back all of the things that they laid out that were actually they hit them all. Like I got a list here, and they hit them all. And so if you go through the episode, almost all of the things that happen lead you on this path of this trajectory, and they come back and do a good job of closing out all the loops. And so that's one thing I thought was interesting was that I didn't the first time through, you don't know what's important or not. It's a pilot episode, right?
Right.
Uh, if you go through this one, like there's a lot of things that are in there, and they hit them all through two seasons.
Well, that's what I've been saying from the start, that it was good. But I mean, it was fun seeing Brian Posehn there. Posehn, I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Host of the Nerd Poker D&D podcast and of Just Shoot Me fame. That was the driver there. He's a big Star Wars fan, so I just think it's really cool when like actors who are fans of a franchise get to participate in that franchise.
We're willing to be extras, is what Kyle's saying.
I've already sent in my letter. Listen to one of our prior episodes to hear that tragedy. But yeah. Mando's there. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold. He's got his demeanor is set from the beginning. You see that he hates droids right off the bat.
Droids, that's right.
Right,
And,
like all that is there.
and the droid thing, I missed it the first time. So at the end of the episode, the droid thing comes up again. But it's
Mhm.
it's it's early in the episode that he hates droids, and it's like a R2 unit. It's not some evil robot killer. It's just a random R2 unit. He's like, yeah, I hate droids. I'm not doing this. It's like, okay, yeah, he really, really despises all droids. He's a droidist. I'm about to say it.
He is.
He's just a droidist.
He is right. Just like Wooher from episode 4, the barkeep in Mos Eisley.
Oh yeah,
Wooher
yeah,
did not like droids.
droidist.
I thought his ship was really cool. Like when I saw it, I was like, that's a Star Wars ship. Like there's just, something about it. Felt like a Star Wars ship, that Razor Crest. Great soundtrack. We got to see, we don't, at least I didn't realize that it was a gun the first time that we saw it, but his Amban sniper,
Mm.
right? That's the long gun
Mhm.
with the electrical thing on the end that he just tases, right? The walrus with. I didn't realize was a gun at first. Later, we find out it's a gun.
Right, it's good.
That's a pretty awesome gun. And so that is actually a callback to Boba Fett's introduction into the Star Wars universe in the Star Wars Holiday Special back in the 70s that went direct to TV on CBS. That gun is actually featured
Mm.
in a cartoon in there.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so that was the first callback to that Star Wars Holiday Special. The second callback was the mention of Life Day, which is the MacGuffin, the impetus for the events of the Star Wars Holiday Special is the Life Day celebration, and so our mithril that we don't see the name of in this episode, but in season 2 he becomes a more important character. Is talks about Life Day and spending with his family, which ends up being a total bunch of lies from what we can tell, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Also, feel free to tell me to shut up at any point if I'm talking too much.
no, no, you're talking way not enough. The other thing that stood out to me was that we've seen him in his new armor for so long now. I forgot what his old armor looked like.
His old armor looked pretty cool. Like I know it was beat up, but it was like brown, and yeah, his new armor's all shiny and looks. I mean, it looks real clean, but like I like that beat up look.
Well, it looks like Boba Fett's armor before Boba Fett went to the paint store,
Right before
right?
we got that Sherwin Williams sponsorship.
You know,
Yes. We're gonna start seeing bumper stickers on Slave One.
but that was another thing that was laid out in this episode was that he gets the Beskar, um, and the Beskar is melted and it's added to his armor. And so here's this thing about right that Beskar is on some level going to be important to his journey. The other thing that I thought was interesting was um, the money exchange early on. So him and Apollo Creed have the money exchange, and Apollo didn't want to
Grief,
pay.
right?
Huh? What's that?
Grief.
Yes, it is Ben, but I stay up late for Kyle. He's one of my good friends. So, um, but
Thank you. It is appreciated.
yes, well,
Yeah,
no,
Grief Karga.
yeah, Apollo Creed is what he'll always be to me. But sure, Carl Weathers. So Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed or whatever his real name is, he doesn't pay the full bounty. He gets half bounties, right? For bringing in folks, and apparently Mando's just like racking up bounties, and then he gets sent over, and the other guy's like, "I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm just going to pay you an extremely high bounty." I found it interesting because being that this was the kind of life changing event for the Mandalorian, he was probably more of a risk taker than maybe I originally had him down for. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, he's obviously he's kind of a underworld criminal hunter type and does some bad stuff, but he's someone who's going to go get someone for way more than he should be paid, and he doesn't know anything. Like that's I mean, Kyle, go meet a guy in a room surrounded by stormtroopers. He's going to offer you way more than he should, and all he's going to tell you is the cat's 50 years old. And here, oh, by the way, here's a homing beacon. Oh, by the way, when you get there, some short Ugnaught is going to get out and say, everyone who's come before you has died. And you're like, I'm going to go do it.
yeah. I mean, that's a deal I would take if I were him.
Well, so
Okay.
the question though is,
keep going.
does that tap into his pride element, like the Mandalorian pride? Is that just he's a man of his word and he says he can do a job, he does a job? Like what is that about him?
So I think it is his reputation, right? Because reputation credits come into effect later,
Mm-hmm.
or they're mentioned later by IG-11, and so reputation is a big deal. I think that right now he's kind of the main breadwinner for his covert,
Okay.
and he also is a Mandalorian. They have a reputation to uphold. He has to live up to that reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he doesn't want to be the one. He doesn't want to be the Mandalorian that people, start using as a joke. Like, oh, Mandalorians are tough, except for that one Din guy.
Yeah. You seen
Like,
his armor? It looks like Boba Fett's.
yeah, like nobody wants that. All right, you skipped a bunch of stuff. Should
Sorry.
we leave that skip, or should
Yes.
we go back?
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll just bust through it, and if you have any comments, add them because I'm not trying to waste everybody's time. It's just something I do naturally. So we see here that other people know the helmet thing because the Mirthwell says, "Is it true that you guys never take your helmet off?" So he at
Yes.
least knows it. Now, is that because we find out he's actually living on Navarro, working for the guild, Grief Karga's accountant, and so maybe the only Mandalorians he's come in contact with are the Children of the Watch, such as this
Mm-hmm.
man Dan, and
Mm-hmm.
so that's his limited knowledge, or is that something more widespread and now people like um, Katie Sackhoff are the minority the night owls are in the minority, and the majority keep their helmet on. I don't know, but it's one of those things that gets sprinkled on very early
Very early, yeah.
that becomes more important later. It's just the way
Yeah,
he says it, it seems important.
yeah, no. I called it too, and how I took that was, it's one of those. I don't know how it'd be like, if you were to meet like a real life CIA spy, you would probably ask them questions that you've heard. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but you might ask a question. You know,
Yeah. Do you have a cyanide pill implanted in your back tooth?
Thank you. There you go. Something like that. You'd probably ask them something like that, or how many passports do you have, or do you really have bank accounts all over the world? I don't know. CIA, please let us know. Answer these questions. But you would
Yeah.
ask them like that. I think that's how I took it. But it was interesting that it was there because the fact that it's there is he's not crazy for thinking this. Like there's other people who think this is true, whether it's just lore or whatever. It is a common question people have. And so I thought that was I didn't catch it early on, like you said, or forgot about it. It was added the right way.
Yes. And so he goes exploring around the ship, right? So we get to see a little bit of the ship, and he's going for the vac tube. He stumbles across some carbonite after he opens up a closet, basically,
Hmm.
and sees all the people frozen in carbonite. This is one of the problems I have with Star Wars. They're terrible with their information technology security. How come some random guy could come onto your ship, push random buttons, and then your stuff, like your closet full of guns, just opens? Like that should not be how things work. So that was
Okay,
one thought I had.
yeah. So okay, let me ask you this. I was thinking the same thing until the Mandalorian popped up and then froze him, and I thought, oh, it was all a trap. Like he was baiting him to go down there to fill a false sense of security, and it was just to get him to. It was to get the blue guy distracted so that the Mandalorian could trap him.
Right, but he still, well, presumably he had to go. Well, I guess he didn't have to go through that area to get to the cockpit, or else he would have seen all that already. But they didn't. They probably didn't go straight into the cockpit, right? Or we know they didn't go straight into the cockpit. But he had to get him frozen in the carbonite, so he needed him in the carbon freezing chamber. He didn't need him in the gun closet, and that's the
Well,
first thing opened was the gun closet or the gun safe, basically.
listen, in my house, you have the bathroom. Next to this, the gun closet. Next to that's where my carbonite chamber is. There's just bang, bang, bang. I mean, that's how I do it. You don't
Yeah.
have it. I mean, how do you have your setup?
Well, my house was built in the late '70s, so I don't have the carbon freezing chamber because
Oh, well,
Empire hadn't come out yet.
right.
Which I did a little bit more research on something I said about carbon freezing in
Mhm,
one of our prior episodes about a future episode.
mhm.
And the first canon reference that I could find of people being frozen in carbonite was actually in a Clone Wars episode. I forget what season now. I believe the episode was The Citadel, if I remember correctly, where Anakin and some clone troopers get frozen in carbonite to pass security.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Been
Yeah.
same.
So while that is not the first time that we are told about it, that is the first time chronologically in the Star Wars universe that I can find it happening. So maybe Boba Fett did not pioneer this process like I was originally thinking.
Mhm.
Oh, just a thought there on
I
carbon
did watch
freezing.
Empire the other day, and there is a question about, are you sure he's going to survive and make it? But I didn't take it to be this is the first time. It's just like, okay, like you like I'm taking him to Jabba, or maybe I'm trying to think. Is it Vader that says it, or is it Boba that says it? One of them says it. I think it, and
I think it's Boba saying that he needs him alive
yeah, and
because he
so
wants to collect the full bounty. You
because
know,
Vader wanted to test it on Solo to make sure it worked for Skywalker.
right? That was the goal,
Yeah.
and which also is like, well, hey, Anakin's Vader, so he knows this thing works, but maybe it's a different process. It's been 30, 40 years, probably 30 years since he'd been had his carbonite freezing experience. So
Well, yeah, he landed. Oh, okay. I got a question for you. They just landed at Cloud City. It's not like it was Vader's personal contraption there. So
right, right. But see, carbon freezing because carbon Bespin and Cloud City is a Tabina gas mining facility, and that's what carbonite is used for. It's cold storage of things. You basically can freeze things in it.
Well,
And gas is one of those things that you can condense and freeze and lock inside of it.
let me ask you this, just to put it how I would view this. Let's say you're an airplane pilot, right?
Okay.
And you got your plane. You got your own private plane. You go land at someone's house. Some guy's house you don't know. And he's like, "Hey, I built my own plane. You want to go take it up?" Would you be like, A, yes, sure, it looks like a plane I can fly, or B, let me pop the hood and and run around the runway here a couple times before we take off?
If he built his own, I'd say let's pop the hood. But if it were like a plane like if I was at the Boeing facility up in Washington and they said, "Hey, we got this plane off the line," I'd be like, I would assume it's good to go.
I would assume it's good to go. Was this the
But if
car
I were freezing my children inside of the plane, I might inspect it.
you might inspect it? Okay, maybe, just maybe, bitch, maybe.
Maybe.
Real
So
quick, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. What?
I have a question about Empire, real quick.
Let's talk about it.
How did the Empire beat Han Solo to Cloud City?
I'll have to go back and look that up or
Because
rewatch
remember,
it because I don't.
they all jump to hyperspace.
Uh-huh.
The Falcon goes with the trash. The Falcon jumps to hyperspace. Slave One then jumps to hyperspace,
Right.
and then the Empire beats them to Cloud City.
I think that the in-can explanation is that they took an indirect route to get to Cloud City in case they were being followed. Whereas the Empire had intel telling them he's probably going to Cloud City based on something.
Yeah, I remember. Vader says to calculate all the potential spots they could go to from here.
Yeah.
And so maybe that is yes, lucky. I don't know. I just wondered about that.
So I think that it was based on, or that the in-canon explanation is that the Falcon took an indirect route to get there.
Also, I'm sorry, this is a Mandalorian podcast. Han makes a reference in either five. I think it's to Cloud City. He goes, "It's a little far, but we can make it there." That is a fuel reference in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, it's there.
It's there.
It's there.
It is there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Back to Mandalorian.
No, you're good. So I did want to talk about the money.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. 1 second, my apologies.
Sorry, I'm playing random sounds over here. Turn that off. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, shut those crickets up. No. We've got so the New Republic has to have a process for exchanging Imperial credits for New Republic credits for their money. So Mando or Mandalorian takes place about 3 years after the Battle of Endor, which is about 9 years ABY, not 9 years after the Battle of Yavin. And so the New Republic is still very much getting set up, right? So there has to be an exchange rate for Imperial credits to New Republic credits, which I would assume are a one-to-one exchange rate. If you're the new government and you're trying to set up that your money is as good as the last guys or better than, give them a one-to-one um, deal to get people to switch over. You don't think so?
No, Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace. Imperial, what do they call them?
Oh yeah, well, yes, he does say that Republic credits are no good here on Tatooine. You're talking about Watto.
Yeah. What my only point is that that it seems in Star Wars there's already multiple currencies in the galaxy that
Right, they do have multiple currencies. I'm just saying, I think Mando could have taken the Imperial credits, gone to some sort of exchange that was under New Republic control, and gotten full bounty. He wanted to avoid the New Republic so badly that he was willing to take half payment in Calamarian money.
right, but also if you take it to the Republic, they're going to say, "How'd you get these Imperial credits?"
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like he's willing to take. So that's just talking about how much he needs to stay off the radar. The
Oh,
reason he took half pay was to stay off the radar. I'm just saying that the Imperial credits, like Grief Karga said, still spend.
yes.
So people would take them, or he could go exchange them somehow. He didn't want to go through that
Watto probably would have taken them.
if he's still around. Yes.
Whoa! Don't be an ageist.
Well,
Don't
I
be an
don't
ageist.
know exactly how long that species lives, but also he wasn't a great guy. So somebody else probably could have killed him by now.
Anakin probably went back and whacked him, to be honest with you.
I mean, why wouldn't he at that point?
Yeah, I mean, he killed the Sand People
Yeah.
with Mando.
Yeah. Now go kill the guy that actually caused you problems. Okay, the Sand People did kill his mom, but anyways. Okay. We do have that fuel reference when Mando asks how much one of the bounties are,
Well,
and Grief says 5,000. He says that won't even cover the cost of fuel these days,
yep.
which makes me think there's a logistics issue. There's a production issue with fuel. If he says these days, like if I tell you, if we're talking the price of oil in our
Mhm.
world, like I remember the first time my mom paid more than $1 a gallon for gasoline at the pump. She was mad. And I feel like it's that kind of same thing. Maybe this is me projecting into the show a lot, but I feel like he is talking about, hey, things are harder now. Fuel's more expensive. I
Right.
think that the New Republic was one, hoarding a lot of fuel for their endeavors to continue their expansion of their new government. And as we saw, there were still places controlled by the Empire, including fuel depots and fuel manufacturing and mining facilities. And so that makes sense. If you are the losing force, but you aren't giving up, what are you going to protect? You're going to protect resource rich locations and the
Mhm.
fuel manufacturing location, as we see during wartime in areas with unrest, like African countries where we're seeing civil war. That's what people do. They protect the means of production. So I think that there is a bit of a scarcity of fuel there, causing the price to go up. I just thought that was a fun world building thing.
Yeah, it's sprinkled in there again. It's probably some of that is to the more you go back and watch, we got to talk offline about Luke Skywalker and Kylo Ren at some point. But
Who?
um, it's a Star Wars character. Kind
No,
of, he's a kind of a fringe character. You had to be a serious fan to know who Kylo Ren is. But anyways,
Guy
okay,
Luke Walker. I'll look him up.
yeah, yeah. But you know, the more you there's two ways to bring something in that you're trying to fix or repair or whatever. One is to like blinking sign, fill your starship up at the gas station, 99 cents whatever unit. Okay. Everyone would laugh at that. A throwaway line about you gotta pay me more. I can't get it there. Of course, the keen observer of Star Wars picks it up, but it's also done in a way that it is for those who have problems with the fuel in Last Jedi or whatever, it's like, okay, well, this is a problem in the universe, just so we're here. And so, yeah, I think it's done to obviously to build upon some of the problems people have with the Last Jedi, but it's also done in a way that's it's just normal talk. It's just part of the
It
episode.
is. Yeah. Oh, see, I didn't have that problem with Last Jedi. The whole fuel thing. No,
No,
fuel.
no,
There's Clone
I
Wars episodes where they have fuel issues. Like
yeah,
they just fuel
I
the
didn't.
thing.
I'm saying, but people did like the fuel. How they run a fuel?
People are wrong.
Like,
Thanks
wow,
for listening, everybody.
wow, that was aggressive. You didn't. You said spoiler alert, but you didn't say that kind of spoiler. Okay, that's aggressive.
That's that's me. When people look at me, they think that's an aggressive fellow.
Hey, did we talk about what you look like offline? Before we got here? Yeah, that was pretty aggressive. I was scared for my life. It's like the ring, you're about to come through and eat me. So
Uh, Good stuff. So we do meet the client, right? And we're in these. There's dirty, grimy stormtroopers, which I would think like, oh, stormtroopers that are not, the Empire is not this big bad organization anymore. Yeah, the stormtroopers are going to kind of be iffy.
yeah.
So I liked the stormtroopers,
Mhm,
that they were kind of punks there. We get to see the client, okay, and we also see the doctor. This is the
mhm,
first time we get introduced to the doctor. It becomes much more important later. And I saw somebody online when this first came out saying, "Oh, they put glasses on somebody. George Lucas never wanted glasses on anybody because in Star Wars they wouldn't be worried about eyesight. They would have technology to fix this." I'm like LASIK, like they would just we have that technology. It's not fantastic, and I still wear glasses even though LASIK is a thing. But enough of my problems. We see somebody with
I
glasses
think
in
that's
universe here.
because they're dark.
See, we
These
got.
are these are real glasses. These aren't. Everyone's like, "Oh, you get your shades on." It's a story, but no, I need these to actually. I mean, these look. I like a tool like this tool. It's been on. Ben's gonna tell
Are
me a tool.
are you a Grim? You look like a Grim. Want to guess what show I've been binging?
Not the Mandalorian. Oh man, this is. I may start. I know it looks stupid, like a total loser, but
Not at all.
but these are how they are all the time. But they're prescription glasses. So
We'll get you that. We'll get you a leather jacket, a prescription jacket.
I hate you so bad. I hate you. It's okay. Go ahead. Um,
You know,
get,
hey,
get some glasses. Geordi of the Forge War in Star Trek, and that's way ahead in the future. So, wait, are we getting it wrong? Am I mixing metaphors again?
no, you're good. You're good. So I don't know. I think, in my opinion, why would people not have glasses? Maz, right? Maz Kanata from the sequel trilogy, she has what are obviously magnifying
Oh,
goggles.
yeah, she's got like the like
Yeah.
the old timey magnifying glass. Yeah,
I have ultra thin lenses on mine, and they're still a quarter of an inch thick. Like it's bad. Like I've got negative 8.5 in each eye when I wear contacts.
God, I like a look like this. Don't this is
You're good, man. Wear it.
but you know, okay.
Listen, nobody listening to the podcast
We'll see how stupid I look
was.
with prescription glasses.
No, they won't. They wouldn't know that you had sunglasses on. Which thank you everybody for listening, especially Mama. We we should get back to Mandalorian at some point though. Oh yeah, so just the glasses. I think
Oh, no, real
I
quick.
think with that idea.
Pro tip on the glasses. When you go, you say you want the transitions. They go from what yours look like to what these look like. If you get them polarized because you like to fish, like I do, this is how they come out all the time.
Okay, so they're permanently transitioned.
Yes, they're permanently transitioned.
They're
But
permanently. Well, hey, that's acceptable in 2021. You know what I'm saying.
yeah, they permanently transition. They were given some kind of hormone blocker or whatever, and now this is what they are.
That's right.
So George Lucas and
That's all good. That people are like, oh, people, this is the first time we have glasses. I was like, okay, they may not have been glasses, but those Coke bottle bottom goggles that Maz was wearing in the sequel series.
yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
The other thing, but you brought the doctor real quick. So, what did you think of the interaction? So they're sitting there with the client, the Mandalorian, and the dusty stormtroopers, and the doctor comes in, and like the reaction from the Mandalorian was really weird. We have like a 3-minute standoff for a dude walking in the room, and the client's like, "Excuse his bad manners." And it's like, he just walked in. Like, I
Yeah.
can't room anymore. Like, good lord.
Like I could understand him pulling a weapon on him, like when the door opens, if he was
Right.
like on edge.
Yeah, just reactionary.
But here's why I think. Because even though the Mandalorian is willing to work for the Empire to get paid,
Yeah.
Din as a character, as a person, hates the Empire because they killed his family.
I got you.
And so I think that he was on edge, not just in my meeting a client that's not doing things by the book,
Yeah.
but I am. Wait, who are you?
Sorry, I
You took,
transitioned.
you took your glasses off.
I know.
Superman?
I can't do it. Yes.
Where'd Clark go?
He's gone. Sorry.
So, I think that he was kind of looking. I think he was already feeling kind of vulnerable and on edge, just for personal reasons in his head that we did not know yet.
Sure. Agreed, but it was like Arnold Schwarzenegger walked in. That's all I'm saying.
It was, and it was more like I walked in, but it was Arnold Schwarzenegger response.
Maybe it was the glasses. Maybe the Mandalorian's like, whoa, what are those? Are those
What
like,
is this thing on this guy's face?
you gonna shoot lasers at your eyes at me? What's going on here?
So one thing that I thought was really interesting during this exchange is that they want the child alive, right?
Mhm.
But he goes ahead and throws out there for a lesser fee, proof of death is fine.
Mhm.
But
He didn't carry his iPhone. He didn't carry his iPhone. Did you notice that?
he what?
He didn't have an iPhone to snap a picture, so he was going all in.
Yeah, he was gonna have to bring the body.
Yeah.
With him. I mean, presumably there is a way to take photos.
Yep,
Uh, in the Star Wars universe, presumably, in his macro binoculars. He could snap some photos or something.
Real quick, Star Wars episode. I shouldn't have watched this stupid movie. Return of the Jedi. Bubba's little deal. It flip flops back and forth.
Well, he's using it.
No, like it's on the right side and it's on the left side.
Oh, I thought you were saying up and down, up and down. Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that I don't pay attention to a lot in films.
I don't normally either. It was just like it just caught my attention because he had it down in one scene and the next scene is up and on the other side. I'm like, okay, that's aggressive. Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's,
You're good.
Squirrel. It's squirrel. It's squirrel. It's the night of the squirrels.
It's all good. It's all good. I know we're up late. For those live streaming, it's 11:11, and you know that. For those not live streaming, it's 11:11, and you also know that now. Magic time.
Here we go. Here we go.
Anyways, sorry. See, I got that squirrel brain too. So the client saying that he's okay with the child being dead.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that the experiments would work if it were dead.
I thought about that, and also we gotta go to the end of the episode because at the end of the episode, when the droid is going to kill it, he said he was given orders to kill it.
Right.
So I was confused about that. Would the same person hire the droid as hired the Mandalorian?
I don't think so. And so that was one thought I had. I don't think that the same person hired him. Well, but I'm wondering
real quick. So if that's true, then all those other people who have died before, who was hiring those people? Like, you see what I'm saying? Because the Ugnaught says it's Ugnaught, right? That's the Mandalorian means, yeah. And so he says a lot of people have gone and died, and then you meet someone, the droid, and the droid's like, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm here to kill him," but he says he's in the guild, right? I mean, they're the same guild, so you think that this same guild, different person hiring them?
Yeah, different person hiring them because I don't think IG-11 went to Navarro. I think the guild, they've got their Mr. Gunderson types on every planet. That's a Shadowrun reference for everybody, and I think that they've got their outposts where they're doling out the jobs. I think IG-11 got his job from a different broker, as it were, and maybe that broker got his orders from somebody else who's working for Moff Gideon or not working for Moff Gideon. Right, maybe there's somebody out there that would rather the child be dead than the Empire get him again.
So that's the thing, and that's the only thing in this episode of substance to me that wasn't answered was what was going on with IG-11, because he makes it clear he's supposed to kill. And there's this whole, there's a lot of build up to the whole scene where the IG-11 has these protocols. He has to follow them, this, that, and the other. So when he says he was told to kill it, you are led to believe that if he's saying it is truthful, he was supposed to kill it. And you're like, well, who paid you to kill this thing? And we never, to my knowledge, we never know, right?
No, and we don't know how all the Niktos got the child in the first place. But I do have an idea on that, and that being that Nikto as a species generally works with criminals such as the Hutts, who are generally as a species criminals because xenophobia is real in Star Wars.
Racist.
And so I'm thinking that maybe a criminal stole the child from the Empire when hijacking a ship. Maybe the child was in transport and they got him either on accident or on purpose. They just knew that some special cargo was there. Maybe they're trying to fence him to somebody. I don't know. Okay. But I do think that there were multiple people looking for the child. Also, we are introduced to Moff Gideon because of his connection to the client. But there are other Moffs in the Star Wars universe vying for power. Maybe a different Moff had different plans or just wanted to sabotage Moff Gideon.
Yeah, I would like to see that loose end tied up, just because it doesn't have to be a big 3-season arc on it. I mean, it could be. I'm fine with that potentially, but I would just, I would like to. I'm curious because there is that kind of, unknown. Okay, is there other people who wanted the child dead? Because wanting the child dead could present a new enemy in season 3.
Mhm. Well, I would expect, just my thought, they may put in a TV show, but I think that they are end up going to do a the Mandalorian book or books or comic books,
All the
and
above.
that they will do kind of this prequel information in a book or books. I think that we'll probably get a book or two about Din's early life and him going through becoming being a foundling and growing up in the Mandalorian way. I would not be surprised if we got a little 6 book comic book arc about how the child got to the planet where he was.
You
Kind
keep
of like
talking.
the Road to the Force Awakens mini series that they did back in 2017.
I'm listening. I got to write a note down. I don't have any pencils on me.
Was that
Um,
2017? 2015? I forget when that was. Whenever the Force Awakens came out, they did
yes,
I think it was a
it was,
six.
yeah, they
Yeah,
did.
they did like a 6 issue build up in the comics to that told you stuff that wasn't in the books or in any of the movies.
Yes,
So I think we'll get something like that.
I agree.
But I just thought that was interesting that the client who's supposed to be working for Moff Gideon, who definitely needs the child alive, is fine with killing him. So maybe the client isn't as pro Gideon as we might believe, or maybe, as he says, he's just being pragmatic. Maybe he just knows, hey, this is the Empire. This is the Empire that would carry out Operation Cinder. These are the people that, if we can't have them, nobody gets to have them. So if you can't bring them back alive, kill them and just be done.
Yeah, the doctor seemed to disagree with that. Like, hey, we can't kill him. And he didn't care, and so it's
Right.
hard to know at that point. Now, also something to consider is if homeboy, the client, he could be working for multiple boss.
He could be working for multiple offs. I think that we do get a really good feeling in season 2, though, about the Doctor caring more about his science than he does about the Empire.
No, 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 no. I'm talking about the client though, working for different boss.
Right, right. No, no. I'm talking about the why the Doctor would disagree. It's like if you told me that you were just going to throw away some
Yeah.
RAM
Yeah.
sticks, I'd be like, wait, 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 don't do that. Maybe we'll find a use for
Right. Yes. No. I'm with you on why the doctor's saying that. I'm saying that we have in this episode bring him back alive, but if you got to kill him, kill him. And we also have a direct order to kill him. So the client could have Moff Gideon going to pay you 100,000 if you bring him back alive. Moff Kyle will pay you 50,000 if he's dead. So, and
it. And that
the doctor's like, no, we got to, this isn't how it works out. And he's like, well, whatever, And so he might have multiple bidders for the same thing, some wanting him dead, some wanting him alive.
That's very true. He very well may, and we don't know the client's exact title either. Is he a Moff? Just a lesser Moff? Is
Right.
he an admiral or some other military? Is he just a governor? Was he the former governor? We don't know.
I want to say I watched something that someone said he was just a regular Moff, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah. Whereas Moff Gideon seems like a Grand Moff, but they don't call him Grand Moff Gideon like we always called Grand Moff Tarkin. Grand Moff Tarkin.
Right. Right.
It's like when people get a doctorate, now they want to be called doctor. Come on.
You won't call me that though.
Well, maybe if you were a grand doctor.
Maybe one day. Whatever.
So we've got that. Okay. The Mandalorian goes into the culvert. You okay talking about that? Yeah.
Talk about
Yep.
what?
The Mandalorian going into his hideout with all the people.
Oh, where he gets the best car thing done.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like he walks down the hallway, and I was paying attention to the lighting on this one, and it's like the first other Mandalorian that you see is very much in the shadows, and you don't see him at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then progressively the screen becomes lighter and you can see more. And then I noticed something that I did not catch any other time that I've watched this, which it has been a few months since I've watched this episode. There are a few kids that run by.
Mm-hmm.
They have helmets on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just hadn't caught that before. I was like, okay, look at that. Kids
Yeah,
with the helmets.
because you can't take it off.
And so he says he's a foundling. She says, she being the armorer, who is at least a person of import, if not the person in charge
Mhm.
of this tribe here. She says that the scrap from his Beskar will help many foundlings, and he says that he was a foundling, and she says I know, which is like, why'd you say that? It's terrible exposition. Like, just let him say he's a foundling. But we got some flashbacks. So the Mandalorians, while there was a planet of Mandalore and there was its colony on Concord Dawn, and you do have people that were brought up in the Mandalorian way, Mandalorians as a people group very much had the mindset that if you are willing to join them and follow their rules, you too could be a Mandalorian. Call today. No, you know, people, they were supposed to bring people into the fold because it is very much a religion, just like the Jedi Order is. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I no comments. I think you covered it well.
Okay. One thought I had about the helmet, though, because we see him leaving. He leaves Navarro. He goes to this other planet, and he's alone in his ship, 100%.
Mhm.
He still has his helmet on. And I'm just thinking, man, that's why
I think
not take it off? You're alone on the ship.
take it off. Yeah, who's watching?
Relax.
I
Put
mean,
your
I'm
feet up. It's your ship.
well, but if you remember, when the Frog Lady episode happens, all of a sudden those X-wings come up beside him and they're looking on the side. So maybe he's always
Maybe,
been.
yeah. He didn't want to scramble for it.
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, hold on, officer, hold on. Yeah, I think that's what's going on there. I'm glad the helmet thing's over. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah, we'll see how over it is. But I think it's mostly over.
It's okay. It's 100% over.
It's now pointless, but I
Yeah.
don't know if it's over,
Okay.
you know?
Okay. So here's the thing. He can't go back to being a full-time helmetist. He's an anti-helmetist now, and so he just can't go back. I'm not saying 90% of the episodes he'll have his helmet on. I'm saying he can't be a helmetist anymore. That's all I'm saying.
I think that, but see, he's, while he did make an exception here, how many times do people make exceptions for a special circumstance? And then for everything else, they stick to their rigid set of nonsense rules,
I think he listen. I think he will.
especially if you grow up in a legalistic religious environment.
I think he's going to.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think he's going to use it often to his benefit when he wants to. Take your helmet off. No, I don't do that. And we're like, really? You don't? He's like, shut up. I mean, I think that's what's going to happen. But I think the whole debate about is it important or not over. He's proven that there's things that are more important than that, and
Yeah.
so he will use it. It will be a ploy that he uses whenever he sees fit now, which I'm fine with. He's a bad guy. It's cool. It's he is what he is. So, but the whole honor and integrity, I think all that's done.
Yeah. Well, like I say, it's now pointless. We'll see what he does with it. I think there will be some internal struggle with it still.
Yeah, unless he goes like a soul, like Spock, the search for Spock, where he has to find himself again. Unless he has something like that on Mandalore, he's in a long robe, just the helmet. He's walking around, and they're like, "Who is the guy in the robe?" Like, that's the Mandalorian. Like, what? Right, we're on Mandalore. They're all Mandalorians.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's the Mandalorian. Right. No, I know that. I'm asking which Mandalorian.
We don't
There's
know.
a million of them here.
We don't know. That's the beauty. Until he speaks, we don't know.
Until he speaks, until he takes the helmet off.
Yeah. So unless we have something like that, and we might have some, there could be. I do agree. There could be some kind of event that pushes him back to the helmet deal, but you'd have to have that.
Yeah. No, and he may use it next time he runs into some Mandalorians he doesn't know because he may not know their stance on it.
Yeah. I can see that as well. Him being like, "Oh yeah, I don't take my helmet off either."
Yeah. Wink, wink, which we wouldn't be able to see.
Right? Yeah. You don't take your helmet off, do you? Even for cute baby Yodas?
You'll be like, "What's a Yoda?"
It's a Yoda.
Long story.
What about a Yaddle?
What about What about a Grogu? Grogu? Huh? So, sorry for the distractions, everybody. Thanks for sticking in with listening and watching. Okay, one question I have, and I have this is my biggest unanswered question aside from how did the child get here? This is a Star Wars universe question for me.
Oh,
How the heck do these tracking fobs work? Because it's not like he had tracking fobs for everybody that he was after. So there's not something implanted on this person. There's some bio signature, some biological signature that it's tracking. But how? I don't know. The way technology that I know works, like it has to receive a signal back, or even if it's lidar, it sends one signal and then something gets reflected to it. How is it? How's this key? How's this fob working from miles
yeah,
and miles away?
I have an answer for you. This is technology from a long time ago. This is ancient technology in a
Uh-huh.
galaxy far, far away. So,
Hmm. I see. You're telling me to let it go.
no, no. Actually, I did think about it some. I don't know if it's. Is there anyone that the Mandalorian finds in the middle of the desert with a tracking fob on? That's one thing. He found these people in cities, which means they could be exchanging currency, doing things, and so that's how they're tracking them somewhat.
I don't know. I feel like there's not much of an explanation because like he knows he when he's in the middle of the compound and there's people all the way around him, he can point it in one direction and it knows.
Oh yeah,
Oh, the
yeah.
person we're checking
Uh,
is more over here.
you're right. Well, hold on. These are bounties he's going after. Does that mean that they skipped bail and they?
For some of them, but because when Grief Karga's sitting there, he's like, I've got bail jumper, bail jumper, bail jumper, wanted smuggler, and now this child. And when he went after the Mithril, the first guy that we see him capture, that guy did run away, but he wasn't a bail jumper. He was Greaves' accountant who took the money and ran. So there's got to be some sort of biological or biometric signature that's being tracked, but I just don't understand how.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I know how a lightsaber works. I understand blasters. I understand all these. I just don't understand this.
You understand the force. Yeah, you know how the force works. How on earth could they have these? Oh, it's
Oh, so
oh
they're
midi-chlorians. It's like a
yeah,
midi-chlorian connector.
they got a midichlorian. It's our midichlorian tracker.
Kyle has 16 midichlorians that are shaped like zebras. Okay, he's over here.
So I did think it was really cool when he's speaking with the Ugnaught, right? And the Ugnaughts like, I will help you. And he's like, did you help the other guys who died? He's like, yes. He's like, I don't know if I want your help. Like that's my thought.
Yeah. And the guy's like, I've spoken. It's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Okay. Good.
Okay, I can leave.
You can kill you now? Like that would have been hilarious. The other guy's like, I've spoken. He's like, pow. He
Over.
just kind of shrugs, like, okay. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. So that's I'm glad he didn't do that. But I had the thought, like, why not?
Yeah. Okay. You've you've spoken. Okay. Kyle,
So
continue. I have spoken.
I'm gonna need you to speak some more. I have questions. So he does say that since these ones arrived, there has not been peace, right?
Mhm.
So the child hasn't been there for 50 years. This builds into the idea that we've talked about where the Empire had Grogu, they lost Grogu, now want him back
Since
because he has not been there since leaving
mhm.
the
Since
temple because the Ugnaught presumably has not been there for 50 years
yeah.
or more.
Yeah. Well, I think the Ugnaught may have been there for 50 years. Well, later on we
Maybe
find
so.
well,
Ugnaughts live up to 200 years on an average.
later on we find out the Ugnaught worked for the Empire, if I remember correctly. And so,
He
but
was
so
a slave,
yeah,
so
yeah.
probably not the Empire because slavery was illegal in the Empire like it was in the Old Republic and in the New Republic and the High Republic. So we've got he would be a slave now. Like Cloud City had slaves, so and that's another place where we've seen Ugnaughts.
Hmm.
Also, another place where an assassin droid got scrapped, and so there's a connection there. Also, might be how he has a little bit of knowledge of Mandalorians.
Like Yeah, I've seen you type before.
Yeah.
Where's the carbon freezing chamber? I'm
For
just.
those listening in, I threw up my hands in that I don't know motion.
It was very effective.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you, thank you. So we don't know how long he was a slave for. We don't know how long he's been retired for. We don't know how old he is. We don't know how long he's been on that planet. But we can reasonably assume.
listen, he didn't say for generations now. Our planet has been in trouble. This has been 1 year, 2 year, maybe 5 year most. But yeah, it's a recent enough event that he's not using long linear terms of time to define what's been going on.
And he hasn't moved. Like if I had a bad neighbor for years, I would just be like, okay, either they're moving or I'm moving.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we can talk about that another time because I get the impression, like, if you go read, because you don't like Anakin, the second movie, but if you go read the second movie's novelization, Lars is always battling the sand people. You get the impression, and he won't move. It's just like, just move, like Tatooine's a planet full of sand. Go, go farm the sand somewhere else, bro. Like,
I don't know. Maybe he was, and I need to get more into. Lars was a moisture farmer. He was providing. Maybe it was just the best location. Maybe for logistics purposes, he didn't want to move for
I
production.
know, I'm saying, but the Ugnaught not moving is what you see with other characters in Star Wars as well.
I get it. I get it. So maybe I'm being presumptuous there.
But no, I'm with you. It's like, just go Ugnaught somewhere else. Like, I mean, I don't know. Go do your thing.
Take your blur and go.
Um, but I did find the comment interesting about how long it's been, and there's been many have died. Maybe they'll come back and revisit that. Maybe it was just a pilot episode. Everyone's dead now, and so it doesn't matter. But yeah, you're kind of. I was kind of obviously knowing what's happened now. You kind of get the impression that you're gonna go down there, and the guy that you're gonna get's a bad dude, like he's slaying folks, and
Right.
there's someone being paid to protect Grogu.
Right. There is, and so that's why I'm thinking that somebody had stolen him and was trying to fence him. That's what I think was trying to go on.
They're trying to what him?
Fence. They were going to sell him.
Oh,
That's
oh,
when you sell stolen goods.
you said fence. Like I was like, Hunger.
Oh yeah. No, not the
Lightsaber? Here we go.
sword.
Okay.
Yeah, selling of stolen goods.
I wouldn't know about that. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all good. Um, I have watched White Collar, so I know these things.
At least.
I don't have life experience. I have a watch list. So we've got a lot of people standing around though in this compound. Like there's a lot of people and they're
Yeah.
just hanging out. It
Yeah.
really reminds me a lot of Jabba's palace.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
expecting there to be somebody clearly in charge. I was expecting a big bad behind the door.
Mhm.
And we did not get that. We did get a really cool assassin droid. Like it was just so cool to see him in action.
Mhm.
Spinning around every pew, pew. It
Mhm.
was really cool.
He looks like you would envision yourself in a gun battle being.
Yes. Yeah, he just spins around, he shoots, he doesn't miss. He can
Yeah.
see everything.
Right. The reality is you're one of those dudes on the roof who can't hit the blinds out the barn and you get killed. But he is exactly how you envision yourself in a gun battle, it going down. Like, oh, you want some of this smoke? Yeah, that's not, yeah. But yeah, he's awesome. I wish there were the problem with those assassin droids is that we don't really get them in the right environment a lot in Star Wars. We get them some in Clone Wars and stuff like that, and they're okay. You get they're a threat. I'm not saying that, but they kind of thrive in the live action almost better than they do some of the other stuff I've seen because my criticism with live action is that it has to be done in a way that it's either really choppy or you just expose it too much. Well, this is like the one character in live action who can literally take on a multitude of opponents at one time and looks like he can actually hold his own.
Yes. Though what is he made out of? And those guys that are shooting can't hit for anything. But again, if you're just a hired run of the mill thug, you don't necessarily have good aim.
Well, I mean,
So
how seriously? Like, okay, so here's a Diet Dr Pepper bottle. Okay, how much wider than that is he? Like two of these together? You think?
well, he's do you have any canister lighting in your home?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so his head's about that big around generally. So it's yeah. You'll notice in episode 4 that the head of IG-88 is a light fixture in Wooher's bar. Like, and that was just a matter of reusing props. That's not any like particular storyline of Wooher killing assassin droids. At least not that I know of. Which would be awesome if you
Not,
just had this.
not openly. It's on the
Yeah.
deal. Why you gotta don't be telling secrets, Kyle?
But no, his head is not as big as a human head. It is smaller than a human head,
Right.
smaller around. So probably if you have
Definitely smaller than
adult
mine.
man-sized hands and you
I have a
make a big
large
circle
head.
with your hands.
I have a large head, so it's definitely smaller than my head. I agree.
No,
But
I said hands, not head.
I know, but it's large. It's definitely smaller than my head. I just got a large cranium.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So if you make a big circle with your hands, that's about how round his head is.
Okay. My point is that's hard to hit at distance.
Yeah, this is true.
It's not hard
That's why you need a floating medium repeating blaster cannon.
at least. I like to have two.
But shoot, and the body is so wiry too. It's not like
Yeah.
C-3PO. He has like a humanoid body. It's just like no, he's poles and wires.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's hard to hit. That's what I'm saying. Like he is for live action, like something that you could halfway believe could literally take on a bunch of people because he's hard to hit. It's not like Arnold running through the jungle. It's like, oh yeah, let me just, it's just he's like it's like a broom with a large handle. It's trying to hit him, and he's moving.
He is. So I thought it was really cool. I enjoyed him. Of course, also we get to see the Beskar again because when he shoots Mando, he shoots him in the new Beskar shoulder.
Accidentally.
Uh, yeah, aims right for the shoulder.
Yeah. Well, where else would you shoot someone? That's where I shoot people at.
But he does. He mentions reputation merits. I said credits earlier. Reputation merits. He wants the reputation merits.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think Mando also has a reputation to uphold, not just as a Mandalorian, but within the guild.
You're right.
And he does not agree to that. He doesn't want to give those up either.
Yes. No, you're right. You're right. You're smarter than me. Sorry.
No, not at all. Not at all. I just pay attention to small things. I make mountains out of molehills. That's my skill.
You're
So
petty.
let's see. We talked about the.
Real
Okay,
quick.
I feel.
Why did
Oh, sorry, what?
why did the droid keep agreeing to Mando's commands? Some of them he did, some of them he didn't.
Right. I think that he, using his just basic logical processing, said whether or not do I have a higher chance of success if I share with him? Yes, do it. And so that's all he's doing is he's saying I have an objective. What gets me to that objective the fastest, the best, the quickest, with the highest chance of success? He is a droid. That is what he is going to do. It's kind of like iRobot with Will Smith, right? The robot sees an adult and a child in a car. The adult has a better chance of surviving. He pulls the adult out of the car, saves him from drowning.
Yeah.
Also, iRobot is a book before it was a movie, but also, he pulls the adult out of the car, right? He just makes a logical choice based on the information he's been programmed with. I think IG-11 is doing the same thing, even though assassin droids are very advanced programming, and part of why there aren't so many, and part of why they're so dangerous. But I think that's all it was him just making a logical choice on, oh, will this give me a better chance of success, yes or no?
Very good. I'll take it.
Okay, sorry. And also, you don't have to agree with me. I know I say a lot of words. I'm not trying to talk you into a corner or anything.
You're probably right. No, I think you're right. I don't have anything smart or piffy to say.
IG-11 is funny though. Like I know he's like the most serious character in the show. Like from a character standpoint, he should not have a sense of humor. But I just love how Star Wars uses droids who are dead serious as comedic relief. They do that in every movie.
Yes. Some better
Pretty
than
much.
I mean, I talk about episode 9. But whatever.
So I thought that was good. And then at the end, okay, let's talk about the big reveal. So the big reveal, I texted you a year and a half ago, whenever we first saw this, when I saw it and was like, oh my goodness, you have to watch this show. When I saw the big reveal, I thought it was going to be a baby Hutt. What did you think it was going to be? Aside from
or like this time.
like you saw Oh, okay. The first time you watched it, what did you think? You thought it was going to be a big bad behind the door. When it wasn't a big bad, what was your next idea?
I don't remember. I don't
Okay.
remember. I
It's also fine not to have one. But
no, no. I'm trying to think. I remember. I remember getting to the end of the first episode, almost not wanting to watch anymore because I didn't understand. I just didn't understand where we're going with that. Like that was part. That's part of my problem with some of the show is that it's like I don't know where we're going. What's going on? I didn't know it was a western. Sorry. Filoni, I had some calls out. He didn't get back to me. Whatever. It happens. He's busy. I know. Favreau, it's Lucas. I'm not trying. Kathleen Kennedy called me, unfortunately, but whatever.
oh man, saying that I'm being aggressive.
I asked her. She didn't know.
She didn't know.
Like, what's going on? She goes, I don't know. We got a new show coming out. I was like, yeah, Mandalorian. She goes, oh, I have no idea. So, but no, seriously, I'm trying to think. I just remember not really getting the show. That's what I remember. I didn't get the show. I didn't know. I didn't get like, why should I care about this bounty hunter? Why should I care about what he's doing? And then Grogu sticks his head out, and you're like, I care now. I was like, I care now.
Okay.
I care enough to watch another episode. And so that's how I remember it playing out.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a baby hut. That's just what I thought it was going to be.
Well, it was so
And it was
small.
not.
You're like, what the heck is this thing?
Wait, what?
No, it's so small. You're thinking, what the heck
Oh,
is this thing? Like you're like,
yes.
what like he goes in there like, what the heck is this? Like, what could it be? A
Yeah.
baby? No, it's a frog lady. I mean, you're going through all the major Star Wars characters. Darth Maul. What? Listen, I look for Darth Maul around every corner. Like that's just I'm kind of like the Mandalorian when the guy walks in the room with the glasses, he pulls his gun.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Darth Maul. Yeah, I'm assuming Darth Maul is everywhere at this point. Yes, he is not dead until I have seen his skeletal remains and they've been verified by R2D2. I'm sorry.
You gotta watch. You gotta watch all the Rebels.
I know what happens. I know.
Okay.
I know.
But it happened before, right? Not the first time.
And, maybe Obi-Wan felt bad and Force healed him, and there you go.
So I did have a thought. When Grogu sees Mando, does he, whether on purpose or just naturally, use the Force to help win Mando to his side to protect him? Because if I were a Force sensitive child, toddler, that had some understanding of the world, and I realized there's a robot, he's got a gun, that's a not robot, doesn't have a gun pointed at me at least.
This is the prize you're looking for.
Like,
you want more money.
right, I'd be sending out all the signals. You like me, you love me, keep me, protect me. Like,
and Grogu. I'm just saying, like, I'll tell you right now. No one knows this. I did wonder.
It was just a thought.
I did wonder that because, okay, let me put it like this. People complain about Anakin's turn in episode 3, which I think is actually set up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Mando's turn. There is no reason to expect him to turn at the end. None.
Right.
Except
There's
for
not.
money. And but
it's weak.
Yeah, it's weak, right? Yeah, I agree. I'm saying that's the only thing that you have though is that the money is enough to kill the droid, and he didn't like droids. But because they established he didn't like droids, they established there's more money. But I just don't think that was enough to do it, and so you have to wonder what is it that makes him listen. It's a cute cat. I mean, if we, everyone's a Grogu, most popular Star Wars character of all time now. But in universe, we have set it up that this guy should be not susceptible to things like that.
Right. And so that's why I was saying that maybe there's some Force influence on him.
Yeah, I've considered that as well. I think it has to be possible. I don't know if it's plausible, but it's possible. It's hard to know. Some people have theorized that the Mandalorian's Force sensitive too.
There's a lot of people in the Star Wars universe that are Force sensitive that are not Force sensitive enough to become a Jedi. And so the Jedi would never pick them up, but
Right.
they just end up being the best at their field
Right.
because that's what they are.
Right.
They're just the best, and they've got this slight edge, and they can't explain it, but it's not enough of an edge.
Hmm. So if he's force sensitive, that might change it as well.
It could, yeah, yeah, it could. If
The other
Mando's
thing,
force sensitive, it could do.
if he's force sensitive, and Grogu was scared in that moment, he would have felt that differently than he would have felt other things.
He could, yeah, he could have felt the child being scared more than he would feel. But he's got to feel all of his prey be scared, right? I guess he just cares more about this one, either through a force influence or because it's an orphan, and we've seen that he has that orphan connection. But we don't get a whole lot of details on his life or foundling and being that, but we can surmise, oh, he was an orphan and he was adopted by the Mandalorians or by this group at
Right.
least. And so maybe there's just he feels bad for this other orphan. He sees himself in him somehow.
I don't know. I don't know. I've wondered about the force stuff, and you could be right. I generally it doesn't it plays out over the next two episodes. I can't speak all of a sudden. Over the 2 seasons, it plays out and makes sense where they end up. What about that initial moment doesn't work, but it ends up working. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. Well, that's all I got. I talked a lot. You have a lot of notes though. I'm sorry. Did we talk about everything you had notes on?
We hit everything, and here's my notes. I'll go through them in order. It's a cruel world. It's unfair. It's dangerous. He needs things. He's not sufficient in where he's at. So, like the best car ad, the credits. He doesn't have jet fuel. Um, the helmet stuff. You talked about that. There's an appeal to the history and the lore with the I thought y'all had to wear the helmets and stuff like that. He didn't like the droids, and then also the different missions. And that's one thing that I've been critical of the show for is it's these random missions. But I mean, he goes on 2 separate missions on the first episode, literally.
Mhm.
He goes get these bad guys, and then he goes to get Grogu. And so, I think it covered. I think it, in hindsight, I think as we go to episode 2, I'll be curious to see how I feel about it because I was very critical of it when it came out. I liked 1 at the end, though, obviously, but 2, I didn't understand it. But now going back and looking at all the things that they put in there, I think it was put together better than I originally thought. So, no, we covered it all.
Apology accepted on behalf of the production team.
I can't promise I'm gonna say the same next week. I don't know at this point. We'll see.
That's okay. This might be the first episode we've agreed on, though. No, we agreed a lot on the season 2 finale. We agreed a lot on the season 2 finale.
Luke,
Well, pretty much every other episode, either you liked it and I hated it, or I liked it and you hated
I would prefer it to be that way.
it. Well, initially it was. I liked this. I'm not sure if there were any episodes in season 1 that you liked actively. I think you just put up with them.
I do like. I went back and rewatched those 7, 8, 9, or 9, 8, 10, or whatever they are.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the
Yeah.
ones at the end where it speeds up.
Huh?
The ones near the end where it speeds up.
You
So
kind of figure out where we're going, but I've seen the Cara Dune one when they're on the planet protecting them from the AT-ATs or whatever they are. It's like, I've seen that one a bunch. I don't know why, but I've seen it a lot. I think Scarlett likes that one or something. I've seen that one a lot.
because it's been done as about 24 movies in the last 4 decades. Oh, you
So
mean that actual episode, not just the storyline? No,
that is yes. Sorry. No, it's it was good. It was good to go back and watch it, and I have a newfound respect for episode 1 of the pilot. So that's
good
it.
deal.
We'll be back next week on episode 2 of season 1. Look at that. We're gonna go in order now. We're special.
Yes, season 2, episode 1, also known as chapter 2 of the Mandalorian. We will be back next Sunday. Thank you everyone for tuning in on our live stream. Thank you everyone for watching this on Outpost 23's YouTube. Please subscribe there and check out outpost23.net or subscribe to the audio only podcast. You can check out the talkinggeek.com for more stuff about that.
Wherever fine podcasts are found.
Yes, wherever they're giving away for free, because
Basically,
you
yeah.
can't charge people for this.
They may charge us if we keep talking. Like 3
Well,
episodes now, people are like, "Look, listen, bro, I'm gonna keep listening, but this,
they do
it's
they do charge us for this. We pay hosting fees.
that's right, yeah, so subscribe, like and subscribe." So, anything else, Kyle, before I hit the end button?
No, may the force be with you.
Always.